Hello students, program Bachelor of Science 3rd year, subject Botany, semester 6, course code BOC 110, course title Plant Ecology and Phytogeography, unit title Plant Communities, module name Process of Succession, Climax Concept. I am Kosasan D'Souza, Associate Professor, St. Xavier's College, Mapsa, Goa. The outline of the module is definition, process of succession, climax concept. Learning outcomes. This module defines the term succession, describes the process of succession, explains the term climax, understands the climax concepts. Succession. Occurrence of relatively definite sequence of communities over a period of time in the same area. Factors causing succession. Initiating or initial causes. Climatic, erosion and deposits, wind, fire, etc. caused by lightning or volcanic activity. Biotic, various activities of organisms. This results in destruction of existing populations in an area and results in formation of a barren land. Ecesses or continuing causes. Processes such as migration, ecesses, aggregation, competition, reaction, etc. causes successive waves of population as a result of changes, chiefly edaphic features. Stabilizing causes cause the stabilization of the community. Basic types of succession. Primary succession starts from a primitive substratum where there is no previously any sort of living matter. The first group of organisms establishing are called pioneers or primary community or primary colonizers. Secondary succession starts on a previously built substrata with already existing living matter. Autogenic succession, replacement with a new community as a result of reaction of existing community with the environment which results in modification of its own environment. Allogenic succession, replacement with a new community as a result of any other external condition and not by existing organisms. Autotrophic succession, characterized by dominance of autotrophic organisms like green plants. There is a gradual increase in the organic matter content supported by energy flow. Heterotrophic succession, characterized by heterotrophs such as bacteria, actinomyces, fungi, etc. There is a progressive decline in the energy content. The process of succession consists of 5 steps: nudation, invasion, competition and coaction, stabilization, and before that you have reaction. Nudation, development of barren land without any form of life. There are different causes for nudation. Topographic causes, soil erosion by gravity, water or wind, deposition of sand, landslide or volcanic activity. Climatic causes, dry period, storm, frost, fire, glaciers. Biotic causes, activities of human for development, industry, housing, disease epidemics by fungi and viruses. Invasion, successful establishment of a species in the barren area. It involves 3 stages: migration, ecesses, aggregation. Migration, seeds, spores and propagules brought by air, water, human, etc. to the barren area. Ecesses or establishment, establishment of species as a result of adjustment with conditions prevailing there is known as ecesses. After migration, seeds or propagules germinate, grow as a seedling, mature as an adult and reproduce. Only few capable of doing this under the primitive harsh conditions. As a result of establishment, individual species become established in the area. Aggregation, due to reproduction, individual species increase in number and come closer to each other. Competition and coaction, due to aggregation, develops competition, inter and intra-specific, for space and nutrition. Individuals or species affect each other's life in various ways and this is called coaction. If unable to compete with other species present, they get discarded. To withstand competition, reproductive capacity, wild ecological amplitude is very important. Reaction, most important stage in succession. Mechanism of modification of environment through influence of living organisms on it is known as reaction. Reaction results in change in soil, water, light conditions, temperature, etc. As a result of which, the environment gets modified, becomes unsuitable for the existing community, and sooner or later gets replaced by another community. The whole sequence of communities that replace one another in a given area is called as seer. Various communities constituting the seer are called as seral communities, seral stages, or developmental stages. A barren land is occupied by a series of communities A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, etc. Out of all this, the last terminal community tends to remain over there undisturbed for a long time, and we designate it as a climax community. Stabilization or climax. Finally, a stage occurs in the process wherein the final terminal community becomes more or less established for a longer period of time. It can maintain itself in equilibrium with climate of that area for a longer time. Final community is not replaced for a long time and is known as climax community, and the stage is termed as climax stage. Climax concept. Climax, final terminal and more or less established community in succession, which is able to establish some sort of equilibrium with the environmental conditions of that area, is called as climax, according to Climax in the year 1916. According to Climax, climax has three principal characteristics. 1. Unity. Climax is a unit, index of climate of an area. Life or growth forms of plants indicate the climate type. Unless all the species are not taken as an organized unit, climax would not indicate the climate. Second, stability. More or less stable with the climate. Can be replaced through competition by any other group of species. Climax communities have a few characteristic dominant species. Third, origin and phylogenetic relationships. A climax should be treated equivalent to an organism. The way an organism takes birth, grows, develops, and matures. Designated as a superorganism in organismic concept of climax community. It undergoes changes with changing climate, similar to development of organism. Phylogenetic relations may be established between different climax communities of the world. Climax concept in ecology. There are three popular theories to describe the climax concept in ecology: monoclimax theory, polyclimax theory, climax pattern hypothesis. Monoclimax theory, climatic climax concept of climates. Within a given region, all land surfaces eventually tend to be occupied by a single stable climax community which is determined solely by regional stable climate according to Climax. Equilibrium state is never reached, and succession is in fact a variable, approaching a variable rather than a constant according to Collis. Collis disagreed with the idea of stability. Cooper considered climax stage as a stage of minimum change rather than finally changed state of succession. Climax may not be taken equivalent to an organism from which it differs in several aspects. Therefore, community may not be considered as a single unit. Commonly observed that in the same climatic climax communities are different because depending upon their primary stages and habitat characteristics, their successional stages are also different. Concept that climax is in fact controlled solely by one factor, that is climate, cannot be accepted. Polyclimax theory. Monoclimax theory was opposed by many ecologists. Tinsley, in 1935, came with a concept which said climax controlled by many factors and not one factor, that is climate. Accordingly, Tinsley's concept became popularly known as polyclimax theory. Clement agreed with Tinsley, but he thought that these communities would soon or later develop into climatic climax types. Clement introduced a number of terms to accommodate these stages in his own hypothesis. Subclimax, stage just preceding the climatic climax. Circlimax, established due to microclimate or effects of factors like soil, fire, etc. Disclimax, disturbed, disturbance of man or other biotic factors which prevents establishment of climatic climax. Preclimax, life forms lower than those in expected climatic climax may be due to drier habitat. Postclimax, higher forms, those in expected climatic climax may be due to moist or colder habitat. Types depending upon the nature of factor in stabilization. Edaphic climax is developed on underdeveloped soil, develops due to edaphic efforts. Biotic climax, due to biotic disturbances by man, animals, grazing effect, etc. Topographic climax, due to differences in topographic factors like mountains, hills, etc. Fire climax, due to repeated effect of fire. According to polyclimax theory, the climax stage may be controlled by many factors of environment or any other factor of environment and not only by climate. Third, climax pattern hypothesis proposed by R.H. Whittaker in 1953. On the basis of community gradient analysis, the communities at a particular place are in accordance with all the factors of environment. In this area, vegetation can be divided into smaller basic units. According to the hypothesis, there is only one community that changes according to soil, slope, and other habitats factor. References. Thank you.